Nancy. Sound the bagpipers and fire up the band. Johns Hopkins seeks set a school record with 20 NCAA tournament goals and a blowout against Utah. Johns Hopkins tied a school NCAA tournament record with 22 goals against Bryant as we get ready for the opening face-off. Matt Naruski for Johns Hopkins, Colin Hagstrom for Notre Dame, and the Blue Jays control the opening draw. They will go to work on offense first, and this is a Johns Hopkins team that's 1-2 against the ACC this season. A win at Syracuse, losses to Virginia and North Carolina. Round one, they used a 15-0 run against Bryant, and that game turned into a no contest pretty quickly in that second quarter. The Irish top 5 nationally in scoring defense and scoring offense. Melendez, a shot on the run, turned away by Liam Entenmann, ACC Goalie of the Year, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and Notre Dame will set up its clear. The Irish, dominance has been the name of the game this season. Highest scoring margin in the country. 6 wins by 10 or more goals. In fact, all but one of their wins have come by at least 5. They've handed their opponent their worst loss of the season 9 times. And the Irish in the crease, so their first possession results in a turnover. And Hopkins able to get it across midfield, which was a big point of emphasis, the clearing game against this Notre Dame ride. Here's Garrett Degnan, 1 goal away from back-to-back 40-goal seasons. Gets it back from Angeles, the team's leader in assists and points.
Hopkins runs a motion offense, free-flowing, positionless. It's like calligraphy, not paint by numbers.
Brooks English over to Degnan. Notre Dame forces you to make the difficult interior pass. Ryan Evans now matched up against Nick Harris. Evans back to Degnan. Against the short stick Parlett, Entenmann read it all the way. Easy save. His second.
That's not going to go today. Hopkins now 0 for 2, both wing shots. The challenge for the Blue Jays in their Carolina blue jerseys is to get to the middle of the field, in front of the goal, where the goal is actually 6x6. Entenmann will eat up those wing shots all day long.
Notre Dame now waits for its personnel. Hard shot turned away by Tim Marseille. The rebound, though, to Brian Tevlin. Grad transfer, named a captain, came over from Yale, where he won a championship in 2018 and played on a national runner-up the following year. Pat Cavanaugh now gets free, leads the nation in assists per game. Cavanaugh feeding inside to Taylor. His shot turned away by Tim Marseille. Marseille, the Hopkins goalie, had been struggling late in the season. Played well last week in the win against Bryant, and now a chance for the Blue Jays in transition. They've got numbers. Low shot, and does it sneak through? It does! The Blue Jays take advantage of the scramble, and they score first. It's Nick Kaufman, the sophomore, his second career goal.
Tim Marseille comes out with his eyes locked and loaded. Watch the reaction. Rebound kicks out. If you're going to struggle to score in 6-on-6 today, push the transition. The Blue Jays have been sneaky strong running this season from D to O. They have a host of long poles who've got in on the scoring.
Will Lynch taking this face-off against Naruski. And the Blue Jays 2 for 2 at the X. But this is what Notre Dame can do. Hopkins wins the face-off, and Notre Dame, time and again this season, able to win it back with the ride, and it's a Kavanaugh that comes up with it, Pat, in this case.
So the net is a Notre Dame face-off win that goes unstatted because they actually have the possession now. Hopkins has got to do a better job using the goalie there. First-time grounders. In a big game like this, when that ball's loose, you're going to get one chance at it.
Eric Dobson, Notre Dame's top-scoring midfielder. Hammer of a shot. Chris Kavanaugh, the backup, closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds on a shot. Awarded possession.
So much in this Notre Dame offense and settled sets. Runs through 51, Pat Kavanaugh, with his ridiculous assist total of 49.
Dobson, too high. 49 assists, Quinn. Highest single season total in school history. Pat Kavanaugh is also number 2 and number 3 on that list.
It's 42% of Notre Dame's assists, okay? Now, with that in mind, Pete Millman told us they're going to press out against 51. Meaning that when the ball swings behind the goal, you're going to see Scott Smith press out and deny him the ability to reverse the ball.
Chris Kavanaugh swims through the D. That one hits the crossbar. And Scott Smith wins the race to the sideline. Hopkins ball.
That was too easy for Chris Kavanaugh, rattling that one off the iron. Shoot for the pipe, hit the pipe.
Now Hopkins will clear. They practiced this week against the 10-man ride, even though Notre Dame doesn't 10-man ride. And what do the Irish do? They force a turnover, middle of the field.
That looked like it's going to be an issue all day. If Martin 12 can't run by his guy, and then they can't make a pass in space like that, clearing is going to be a major, major hurdle for Hopkins.
Peter Millman told us when they practiced the clearing, they practiced against the 10-man ride. They practiced against 4 attackmen. He felt when you got 2 Kavanaugh, sometimes it feels like there's 4 out there.
They play with that energy, but the midfielders in that second line of the ride are more athletic than Hopkins has seen.
Here's Simmons, the Virginia transfer, ties it for Notre Dame at 1.
Kavanaughs are always worth the price of the ticket, man, because they bring it. Whether they're having success or not, there's an energy level, low to high release. Ricochets that one off the pipe. That was Chris Kavanaugh. Pat bringing the heat on the ride. So off the face-off, they make a play on that ground ball. They stop the Hopkins clear. There's certain Kavanaugh plays. And here's Simmons getting the pay dirt, beating the Hopkins midfield defender. That's an area that the Blue Jays are going to be a little bit over their head in this game today. I expect a lot of Notre Dame isolation from the midfield against the Blue Jay shorties.
Another face-off won by Hopkins. Naruski straight ahead. It dumps it back to Hawley.
If you point to a weakness, a crack in Notre Dame's numbers this year and their performance, face-offs is the, you referenced it, face-offs is the area.
There's the freshman, Matt Collison. Got a big lefty shot, good crease speed, but the Hopkins player was in the crease. Peshko.
We've covered a ton of Notre Dame games this year. They're on TV all the time, and the best way to attack them is from behind the net using picks.
Now Hopkins clogging up the middle of the field on the Notre Dame clear. They have to get it across midfield in the first 20 seconds of the shot clock. So before that shot clock hits 60. And you are allowed to go back, over and back, in those first 20 seconds. Riley Gray spins it to Dobson. Now Pat Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh against Scott Smith. Dumps it out to Dobson to the wing.
I like this wrinkle. Saw it a little last week with Kavanaugh in the top of the formation.
What does that do to a defense?
Well, it makes the defender uncomfortable.
Flag down. Taylor missed the cage. And now the number 2 man-up unit in the country will go to work.
And I think foreshadowing to a potential third game against Virginia, when the Kavanaughs struggled against Kastner and Sawstead, you got to move the Kavanaughs into space. And so I love the fact that here you see 51 Pat Kavanaugh dodging from the top of the formation against a close defender who's used to playing behind the net around the crease. Makes the D uncomfortable. Advantage offense.
Only Georgetown had a better man-up unit entering the quarterfinals nationally than Notre Dame. 63%. Pat Kavanaugh to his brother Chris. He fires. And the backup to Griffin Westwing. 5th year.
Wow, he paid the price, didn't he? No call there. Zulik.
Big Zulik, senior captain. Off the stick of Dobson. He can't find it. Pat Kavanaugh can. Here's Chris Kavanaugh. Too easy for Notre Dame. It's 2-1. Irish on top.
It's been the same extra man all season long for Notre Dame. They've been stubborn. They've been awesome. The hub man. Mid 2010, 2014 on the national stage in legitimate fashion. What they've done out in South Bend, though, in terms of drawing fans to Arlotta, to me has been off the charts. It's so cool to watch.
Kevin Corrigan has built this program from the ground up. And while the brand of Notre Dame speaks in the imperative, Notre Dame lacrosse, geographic outlier for so many years. Fledgling program in leagues like the old Great Western Lacrosse League. Finally, when they got to the Big East, it gave them access to a better schedule. That resulted in better talent, and we saw the program start to grow exponentially, really starting toward the end of the first decade of the 2000s and then into the last decade. And now they're one of the premier brands and one of the premier programs in all of college lacrosse. Degnan, left hand, free! Got it! Goal number 40 by number 40.
You got to maintain your feet on defense. And if your teammate stumbles or falls, where's the help? Blue Jays do a nice job of clearing that side of the field. So Degnan sweeps. The other action is away, which drags all the help defenders away from the ball carrier. And good things happen. Bergmaster's down on the turf, and we talked about this man's shoot. His shot is downright scary.
Back-to-back 40-goal seasons for Degnan. 114 career goals. He's in the top 10 at Hopkins. Last week he passed the great Paul Rabel. And this is the first face-off won by the Irish. Jose Boyer off the wings from Clark's hometown of Yorktown, New York.
And that was a great example in a motion offense of creating space for a player. While everyone is in movement, defenders have assignments. I can't just leave my guy if he's on the crease. I'm worried about my guy. Oh man, my teammate fell down. I'm in no position to help.
Quinn McCann, 15 and white, a two-way midi. Now Riley Gray, who had a hat trick in round one against Hunter Jaronski. Gray drives down the alley. Can't get it to Kavanaugh. Dobson shovels it back to McCann. Chris Kavanaugh. That's a save by Marseille. His brother Pat tracks it down New 60 for the Irish.
And Pat's being really taken out of the equation by Scott Smith of Hopkins. Look how far he's pressing out. So
they're denying him the ball.
They basically are, and that's keeping the offense.
Gray with the save by Marcille, and then it's Taylor on the rebound like a hockey player. Caught the rebound on a fly, cashes it in. Jake Taylor with his 24th goal of the season, and it's 3-2 Notre Dame.
Rebounds are a constant storyline in NCAA tournament games. Seems like we're seeing one a game. Gray's dodging with confidence. Taylor's got the knack inside. He's had a really strong last 5 games, Anish. His numbers have gone through the roof. He had 5 against Utah, 2 against Virginia in that loss. Denver, Colorado.
Face-off violation on Notre Dame. Hopkins ball.
They take Taylor out on face-offs and actually put a defensive midfielder, Brian Tevlin, on attack. You'll see Tevlin and Ramsey on attack, and then during the sub portion, they get back and play D.
That's by design. That's to win those ride backs if they lose the face-off. Here's Melendez. A Hopkins tournament record 9 points last week in round 1. He's checked by Ben Ramsey.
Notre Dame's not as matchup conscious as most teams. They'll switch on picks. They could care less.
Here comes Angeles. Over to Pesco. He rips the back of the net. The Blue Jays going goal for goal with Notre Dame early on. It's 3-3.
That's a look that's got this Notre Dame defense perplexed. I love this action. Watch underneath. Watch closer to the goal. You see the pop out. So when Pesco's man sets up as the second slide, he steps upfield. I believe it was Will Donovan. Comes off him just a little bit in a help posture. Pesco backs out towards the wing, presents that visual target. Boom, a strike. Turning right. That's the best offense we've seen from Hopkins in the half-field set.
Naruski and Lynch. And the face-off won by the sophomore Will Lynch, who went 15 of 19 in round 1. Naruski had a goal and an assist in round 1, winning 8 out of 17 against Bryant.
That can't happen.
Offsides. Here's a chance. Degnan beating the crease. The one more pass off the stick. Marco Napolitano had it. Hopkins gets it back. A timeout by Peter Milliman as Cody Ince picked up the ground ball. 4 minutes to go. Quarter number 1. And Peter Milliman's Blue Jays trading punches with Kevin Corrigan's Irish.
Important year. Big picture for Johns Hopkins lacrosse.
So many of the offensive players have talked about the impact Crawley has made and what it's meant to these seniors who went through the storm to be a part of the resurgence. Now McDermott drives down the alley, takes it back. Chauvet left hand free, blocked. Notre Dame the other way. Here's Tevlin.
Could have a trailer. It's a 5-on-5. We'll see who.
Tevlin's capable. Looking for the crease feed. Wanted Boyer the long pole. Last week Notre Dame went pole, pole, pole for a transition goal against Utah.
Never seen that before. Pole,
6
pole,
in blue, Quint. Alex Mazzone, second round pick in the PLL draft. So good off the ground, and he could be a big weapon against this Notre Dame ride for Hopkins.
As impactful a new face for this Hopkins team Defensive efficiency numbers vastly improved. His ground ball numbers alone have taken this team from a negative ground ball margin a year ago to a positive one this year. They've also increased their clearing percentage by 5%. Alex Mazzone, huge addition.
Angeles has the short stick matchup over to Grimes. Working on Chris Fake, four-time All-American at Yale, and his first season with Notre Dame. Angeles again on the shorty. Melendez now, shot clock into single digits. Conlon stays with Melendez, who lost it. Shot clock now down to 3, and Melendez has to throw it away. Jalen Seymour, speedy sophomore from St. Anthony's. That's out in Long Island. Pat Cavanaugh now marked by Smith. Cavanaugh. Good defense by Smith. He's got to give it up. Now it's Simmons on the invert. Against Brett Martin. Hopkins top, short stick D-midi. Here's Chris Cavanaugh. Fake the shot. We come up on a minute to play in the opening quarter, tied at 3. Winner gets Virginia in the national semifinals next Saturday. Dobson. Far side feed, shot to score. It's Seymour, his 4th goal of the season. The evolution of Eric Dobson. When he came in as a freshman, he was known for a lefty hammer of a shot. We've seen him grow with the right hand. We've seen him develop as a feeder. And he finds Seymour for the go-ahead goal.
Dobson, big lefty, he's going to draw the eyes and double team. This is a major step in the right direction for his development. To be able to see through the defense, to understand that they're vulnerable on the backside, and for him to kick this in front of the entire formation from weak side to strong. Seymour makes a good catch and finish as his angle is diminished. But that goal, a credit to Eric Dobson. Interesting young man. Jacksonville suburbs. Huge Florida football fan. He went dressed as Tim Tebow for 3 consecutive Halloweens. One time even used a Friar Tuck haircut.
Some of the haircuts we saw from Notre Dame last week would put the Friar Tuck haircut to shame. All-timers. Right up there with the Albany team pictures.
Whatever happened to those? Coach Marr retire those? I didn't see the same oomph out of them this year.
Here's Brooks English. Doubled his goal total last week with 3 goals all in the first quarter, giving him 6 on the season. Final seconds, quarter number 1. Angeles with 8 seconds. Fake picks him up. Angeles drives. At the top hand free for a moment, now picked up by Harris. Time running out, dangerous pass. It's knocked down, and that's how quarter number 1 comes to an end. A trip to championship weekend and the city of Philadelphia on the line. The Irish with a 1-goal lead on the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins. 7 different goal scorers in the opening quarter. It's 4-3 Notre Dame. National titles was with my colleague and friend Quint Kesnick in goal back in 1987.
Going to say it wasn't in the 1880s.
Could have been.
I think Coach Millman's done an incredible job. You know, he took over during the pandemic, which was difficult in terms of relationship building, connectivity. And his personality, even-keeled, monotone. He doesn't initially wow you, so to speak, but I think there's value the longer you get to know him. And so I think it's taken some time.
Came over from Cornell after a successful run there. Remember when that 2020 season ended, Cornell was #2 in the polls. Very much had a case for #1. Collison over to Dylan Bauer. Bauer's a speedy midfielder, #7. Here comes Melendez, driving down the alley. Serpents behind the crease, fakes the pass, shoots low, and it went in. Looked like Entenmann might have had it, was trying to dig it out, and we're tied at 4.
Hopkins is shooting really well, making the most of their opportunities, and Entenmann has not been able to find a rhythm or flow. Pump fake. Entenmann's just, he's got his right foot right at the pipe, and this ball ricochets off and in the goal.
And that's about to be an internet meme.
But going back to Coach Millman, what Timmy Marcille said, you sense how much more comfortable he has become with the team. He said he's not easy to read, but he's easy to like. And I think Coach Millman has figured out what matters, what this team needs to do to play winning lacrosse. I think he's delegated more effectively. And this team is taking care of the small things. Ground balls, clearing, turnovers, the things that win lacrosse games.
And in this game, his 2 big points of emphasis: offensively, use picks, change matchups. Hopkins has done that. Defensively, deny X, deny the ball going behind the cage, especially to 51. They've done a good job of that as Entenmann eats that one up.
And then compete in the hustle stats. You're playing this Kavanaugh group, and they're going to bring the fire on ground balls and clearing. You got to match that. And Hopkins has done that this year. They have avoided self-inflicted wounds. They've cleaned up a 2 or 3 year long clearing issue where they Keystone Cops clearing the ball. They've played a winning brand of lacrosse. Now, are they good enough to beat Notre Dame? I don't know. But they're gonna give you a winning brand.
They chart what they call invisible stats. Things that don't show up in the box score. How effectively you set a pick, you set a screen. How a cutter may have gotten open for himself or somebody else. Every player has a per-touch efficiency rating, and that determines playing time. At Kavanaugh, chased by Smith.
Now look at this pressing out. Hopkins is pressing out with their shorties.
Kavanaugh feeds the middle. Chris Kavanaugh could not get the shot off. Shot clock under 10. Dobson with a rocket. Marcille saved it. That was a desperation shot. So the result of great defense.
That possession, the 2 shorties, Ince and Raposo were face guarding their man. Hopkins was basically playing a 4-man defense with their 4 poles. You could nickname it a 42, let's say. And it caught Notre Dame. There was massive confusion. Didn't know what is going on here. Why am I being shut off? What's the situation? Well, Jamison Kester, the defensive coordinator, it worked.
Marcille with a heck of a save on the last second shot by Dobson. Good look there inside for Peshko. It got away. Melendez is there. Flips it to Angeles. And now Bauer. There's the 6'4" Collison backing down Parlett. The D-Mitty with the short stick. Bauer against Boyer. Turnover. Shot clock was down to 2.
Irish fans love it. They come to their feet. They appreciate great defense. Notre Dame under the Minister of Defense, Jerry Byrne, for years. Best in the business. Jerry now the head coach at Harvard. But Hopkins content and willing to roll that ball in the corner and fight another battle.
Quinn McCann toward the cage. Back to Chris Kavanaugh. Now Simmons gets free. Left hand. A little wide. The back up to McCann. McCann, a fifth year. Terrific two-way midi. That's long been a staple of Kevin Corrigan's programs.
He logs a lot of miles in East.
A lot.
Offense, defense.
He'll get a breather. Griffin Westland checks in. Simmons, Tevlin, and Westland, the middies. The two Kavanaughs and Taylor on attack.
Smith continuing to press out against Kavanaugh at X. That's behind the goal.
Chris Kavanaugh. Good ball reversal. Pat Kavanaugh now gets it. Shot clock under 15. Hopkins making the Irish work deep into the shot clock. Not much on it from Chris Kavanaugh. Loose in front. Shot clock still running down. We'll get a loose ball push. It'll be on Hopkins, and that resets the shot clock to 60.
And this is danger zone for a defense now. Multiple shot clocks back to back to back. You start to get tired. Let's see if the Blue Jays change up their scheme here. If Smith, 18 and white's going to press out against Pat Kavanaugh at X, Notre Dame's going to either have to play 5-on-5 or they got to move him in front of the goal. There's got to be an answer offensively.
Simmons eyes Mazzone, a second-round draft pick in the PLL. Up top, Chris Kavanaugh, cha-ching!
The loose ball push and reset of the shot clock, as advertised, dangerous. Invert with a pick. Blue Jays defense, they're just sloughed in too much. Lack of respect for this outside shooter. Sophomore from Rockville Center, Long Island. Ended up taking a final year at Taft. And you see that just gorgeous tuck under the bar.
Second goal for Kavanaugh, 42nd on the season. The youngest of 6 siblings, 4 older brothers and an older sister, Colleen. Hopkins wins the faceoff. Hawley lost it. Comes back to the Irish. It's Chris Kavanaugh leading the charge. He'll slow it down. Hopkins gets back defensively. And this defense, Quint, now has to dig in for Hopkins. 2 long possessions. You think you got a face-off, and here comes Notre Dame right back at you. Big shot disparity in this game, 17-8 in favor of Notre Dame. McCann against Ince. Teams have picked on 15 and blue this year. Taylor had a good look. Kavanaugh with the backup. What's Scott Smith doing well against 51 right now?
He's shutting him off. He's pressing out when the ball's on the wing.
Well, now Pat Kavanaugh's got a matchup. Raposo, the short stick. Where and when does the slide come? There's the slide. Kavanaugh feeding to his brother Chris. Tried to go BTB. Hopkins can reset its matchups defensively with 17 to shoot.
It's great trust, isn't there, Anish, between the Kavanaughs and Taylor, where they just jam the ball inside and trust one another?
Gray on the doorstep. That hits the pipe. It's Notre Dame ball, and that is another shot clock reset. And boy, it feels like Hopkins has been on defense now for 4 minutes.
Had they not burned a timeout earlier, this would be a perfect time for a defensive timeout.
Gray. Skip pass to Dobson. Dobson, top shelf, using the pick from Taylor. Taylor running off the field, looked like he was holding his lower back. The goal by Dobson is good. And we have the first 2-goal lead by any team so far.
Hopkins defense on fumes. It's all about the hustle. The Kavanaugh plays, creating turnovers, and then good things happen. Blue Jays defense just got too condensed as they got tired, and man, Dobson lets it go with the jump shot. He could care less about his stats. He's just looking up at the scoreboard and trying to make things happen.
That'll be against Notre Dame. So Johns Hopkins has the ball. Quint, the Blue Jays' last shot came almost 7 minutes ago. Last shot.
Well, they're fortunate that they're shooting nearly 50% in this game, because the time of possession has shifted dramatically. Face-offs have kept this group within striking range.
They're 10 out of 12 on face-offs, but there's been a couple of those they've won, and Notre Dame was able to ride it back, and it did not turn into a Hopkins possession.
Yeah, on a warm day, that possession advantage is significant later in the game. We saw it in the first quarterfinal. Penn State nearly ran out of gas. Saved by the buzzer.
Moving pick on Hopkins, so now it's 7+ minutes since the last shot. It came at the 14-minute mark of the second quarter. That was the goal by Melendez, which made it 4-4. Irish plus 13 on shots in this opening quarter. Hopkins has turned it over 8 times. Here's Chris Kavanaugh. He's got 2 goals. And that's going to be in the crease.
Interference or a moving pick. Either way, team's trading turnovers off ball. Feels like this game is being refereed tight.
Hopkins breaks the midfield line. Simmons out there on defense for Notre Dame, and let's see if Hopkins goes at him. They isolate him. Grimes now picked up by Fink. And now you got Angeles against Simmons. Big matchup advantage here for the Blue Jays. Angeles looking to get top side and throws it away.
Smart offense. You see how they bring the weak defender and get a switch onto their best offensive player. And you should bake that in the play call. That's just good offense, and it's really simple to do.
The execution went awry. McCann beat up by Raposo. Dobson with a hammer.
Yeah, Hopkins goes to their invert zone defense when they don't like the matchup, and they sag in, and they give Dobson a good look from 15. He'll take that, man. He's got significant velocity and range.
Taylor working a 2-man game with Pat Kavanaugh. So Taylor looked like he got a little dinged up setting a pick on the last Dobson goal. Back in there.
Good matchup for Dobson.
Dobson against the shorty. Over to McCann, dropped it. Mazzone, he's a vacuum. Dobson able to recover.
I'll tell you, Eric Aiton-White's playing a big-time game today.
Shot clock at 15. Gray through the defense. Turned away. Shot clock at 7. Good defense by Hopkins. Ball loose in front. Blue Jays have it. It's been 10 minutes since Johns Hopkins' last shot. This was a team that went on a 15-0 run in round 1 against Bryant.
Down 3-2. Sent the band to the trainer's room.
Get some new reads. Napolitano marking Degnan. Out of the box. Raposo bouncer save. Entenmann. It stays with Hopkins. Shot clock resets.
He pulled the string on the sub game. He was pretending, yeah, I'm going to jog off to the substitution box. Boom. He turns around and runs back on the field.
We saw him score last week. Here's Casey McDermott. He's got the short stick Ramsey, the sophomore Ramsey from Palo Alto, California.
A low-volume game for Notre Dame goalie Liam Entenmann. These are always tough to play.
Grimes using his size. It comes back to Degnan. Melendez against the short stick.
We need one, meaning we need a double team. We need one.
Ramsey jarred it loose.
24 in white's pretty darn good.
Melendez, right hand 3, shot, save, Entenmann.
Nice stop, big stop. Surprised Notre Dame's defense didn't support that matchup.
Ramsey's turned into a very sound D-Midi, and a timeout by Kevin Corrigan. Notre Dame still has 1 left, 2:27 to go. First half, 6-4 Irish. 6-4 Notre Dame. Pat Cavanaugh second nationally in points per game. Without a point so far. Hopkins has essentially shut him off, denying him the ball at every chance. Created some opportunities for some other players, including a good look there from Chris Cavanaugh, who wanted his 3rd goal. And Pat Cavanaugh will start things up. 51 on the shot clock, 2:12 to go in the half.
Blocked by the defense. That was a gorgeous hitch and go for Cavanaugh.
Pat Cavanaugh comes over to Taylor now. Tevlin has Juronski hung.
I like the passing from Notre Dame we're seeing today.
Tevlin's been a man of all seasons for Notre Dame. Offense, defense. He'll play with a long pull on man down. Simmons catch, release, and it's 7-4 Irish. 2nd goal for Simmons.
Think Pat Cavanaugh gets this assist? Watch this pass. His ability to make decisions while in the heat of battle is just incredible. So Tevlin's an X. Good matchup right here for Pat Cavanaugh, 51 in white. He knows the double team is coming, but watch it. Steps away, eyes are up. Finds his teammate inside. I mean, that's unstoppable. Look at him, he's very aware. The body control, I mean, the ability, it's almost like an option quarterback. The ability to have your eyes in one place, you're controlling the ball, to read the defense, all while you're being covered and hacked. It's brilliant.
Hockey background for Pat Cavanaugh. That is the 73rd point of the season, and he is now 2 shy of tying his brother Matt for most in a single season in Irish history. Hawley, Dave Petramala's nephew, 26 in blue. Flag down. So Hopkins will have a man up here. Delayed penalty.
Coming up against the Cavanaughs, riding like Banshees. Ref didn't like it.
Piranhas. We come up on a minute to play, first half. 40 on the shot clock, and a penalty coming against Notre Dame. Melendez over to Peshko. Peshko gets to the middle, his shot blocked. And Hopkins will have its man up. Blue Jays 35% on the season.
To Notre Dame, number 51, Kavanaugh, for slashing.
They get Chris Kavanaugh.
Nothing good ever happens with one hand on your stick, especially out in the open. Referees, no, I guarantee the Hopkins staff was all over the officials pre-game. Hey, watch 50 and 51 when they ride, they swing their sticks.
Matty Palem making the call. So Hopkins now with an option. Do you go and try to score, or you can take this down to the end of the half, and with possession, you would get the ball without a face-off to begin the third quarter? What do you do?
You need to score goals. Playing to win, or you playing to keep it close?
Degnan from the wing. His shot blocked. Notre Dame's got it.
Hold the ball here, hold the ball.
And Fake does just that. "30 minutes from sending one final team to championship weekend. Duke, Virginia, Penn State waiting. And it's Notre Dame with a 7-4 lead on Johns Hopkins. The last time either of these teams made the national semifinals, 2015. Anish Shroff, Quint Kesnick, 4-4 game. Notre Dame scores the final 3 goals of that second quarter to take a 7-4 lead in the halftime. Pat Kavanaugh, second nationally in points per game, only 1 in the first half, but he impacts the game in other ways.
You know, his willingness to not fall under the pressure of, I got to score, I got to make points. The ball needs to be in my stick. And he's found other ways, whether it's off the ground, whether it's creating turnovers. And it's Chris who has been more of a threat. 50 in white, been more of a threat as a shooter with his feet set. This young man, the velocity and pop on his shot has really dramatically improved within the last 2 years. He gets great strength from the hips. And here you see Pat, while yeah, he's not putting up his 5.5 points a game, but he's not sulking, he's not complaining, he's not taking bad touches. When given the ball, he's been a playmaker. That was a gorgeous assist. He's created turnovers, he's been good off the ground. And he has been one of the reasons why this game is 7-4. It doesn't feel like a 7-4 game for some reason.
The shot disparity, Notre Dame 2-1 on Hopkins, and the Blue Jays have controlled the face-off back. Some of those Notre Dame has won back, but it's Hopkins turnovers, and now Notre Dame, which began the third quarter with the ball. Why? Well, they had the ball with a penalty against Hopkins to end the second quarter. And so if you possess the ball during a penalty and a quarter comes to an end, the team that possesses begins the next quarter with the ball and no face-off. However, Notre Dame turns it over. Back to even strength. And Johns Hopkins goes to work. What worked offensively for the Blue Jays? I know they went 10.5 minutes without a shot.
Not much. You know, they need to get Jacob Angelis involved in their motion offense. He's the guy, when you chart his success usually leads to team success.
This is Bauer, picked up by McCann. Tevlin playing with a long pole. He went down with Peshko. Bauer, inside roll. Entenmann with the save. New 60, here's Angelis. Hopkins has lost 5 games this season. Angelis did not play against Loyola. In the other 4, he had a goal and 4 assists total. Melendez wraps around. And Hopkins with the first tally of the second half. It's 7-5. Melendez 9 points in round 1. No Blue Jay had ever scored more points in an NCAA tournament game.
He's got 2. Marquette transfer. Often injured when playing in Milwaukee. next level athlete. But look at this change of direction and the acceleration and the ability to turn a corner. If you're Notre Dame, you got to see this earlier. Like, why watch tape all week and Melendez goes off for 9 points last week and you're not supporting this matchup against a short stick? You could see that coming a mile away.
There were times in the first half when it was Ramsey guarding Melendez. Notre Dame was comfortable leaving Ramsey the short stick on Melendez, who now has 2 goals or more in 6 straight games.
His consistency in the second half of the season has really jumped out at me. He showed flashes early year, pockets, and then little lulls, and then another. Man, at the end of the year, he's put it together, Anish, every single week. He's been great. How
about his reaction last week when we mentioned to him, hey, he scored 9 points. Tournament record for 1 game for the Blue Jays, the storied program. And his reaction equated to a shoulder shrug emoji. Hopkins maybe with a chance unsettled. Hard shot turned away. Hawley chases down after the rebound. And who else off the ground? It's Mazzone. Former All-Big East player at Georgetown. He had 12 ground balls in a game on this field earlier this year against Navy. 12 for a defenseman, not a face-off guy.
Long Island product, played for that amazing 3 Village rec program. Just an everyday community rec program out in Ward Melville that's sent hundreds of players ultimately to college by introducing the game at a low price point, neighborhood-based.
That stuff matters. Melendez now has the short stick again. Does Notre Dame slide? Bergmaster was hedging. Melendez against Ramsey. Melendez, his shot saved by Enseman. He forced that one.
It's well played. Well played by the defender to seal that off and to force him in the crease.
Nick Harris, 77 in white. Part of Notre Dame's short stick D-Midi Armada.
And we were talking about it during halftime, like Pat Cavanaugh, almost a spectator at times in half-field sets. He's got, what, 1 assist?
1 assist.
Notre Dame seems content with that because it's the other guys who are winning their matchups.
McCann got run over trying to set the pick. Now Cavanaugh's got the short stick matchup against Ince. Hopkins has to help here at some point. Cavanaugh dusting Ince, fires wide. Chris Cavanaugh will initiate against Bowden Zulik, the senior captain for Johns Hopkins. Over to Taylor, right on the doorstep. That hit the pipe. Big race to the sideline. Ball dies before it went out of bounds. Loose ball push on the Irish Blue Jay ball.
Marcel gets taken down, but a good hustle play. He got there first, and there's value in that. Timmy's a future restaurateur. He loves to cook. He's worked in 4 different restaurants. Spent some time with him this week. A lively personality. Favors dish to cook are what? Braised short ribs?
Braised short ribs. Yeah, he spent some summers bartending, working in the kitchen up on Cape Cod.
Pizza place in Baltimore.
Yep.
You know, running a kitchen, being the head chef, is kind of like running the defense.
That's what he told us. Here's Grimes. That's Peshko.
You got different assignments. You got a guy on the ball. Maybe he's the main course. You got a guy who's a slide. He's in charge of the salads. Your second slide's your dessert guy. You're communicating with all 3.
I don't even want to ask you how you view Kark and I.
What do you mean by that?
As the food analogy. You're the goalie. There's Tevlin.
No, we're a salad. We're a good salad. We're like Caprese.
With croutons or no? You don't do croutons on Caprese, right?
Kark's like the olive oil, the balsamic. the basil, the salt and pepper. Anish, you're the tomatoes. I'm the cheese. And one without the other,
oh boy,
is not very good.
All right. Here's Taylor behind the back.
Blue Jays hanging around here, by the way.
They are. You know, it's a 2-goal game. And at times it has felt like Hopkins has been punching uphill, climbing uphill. It's only a 2-goal game. We felt that way with Army for a lot of the game against Penn State. You know, they're down 3, they're down 4. It didn't seem close. And then the next thing you know, Army goes on a little run.
Invert zone Hopkins does. Anytime the ball's behind the net, has been effective. So that it's man-to-man behind, they have an automatic double coming, and then they set up in like a 1-3-1 formation in front, a zone. They're baiting Notre Dame to throw the ball up top to Dobson or whomever and take outside shots.
Dobson can go downhill. Shot clock dips below 10. Kavanaugh feeding in front. It's off the stick of Westland. Shot clock now at 3. Westland run out of bounds by Hopkins. As much as Hopkins has played defense today, they've been pretty good defensively considering the amount of possessions. Time of possession, if we were charting, skews in Notre Dame's favor by a wide margin.
They're making life tough for the Fighting Irish.
Only 11 of Notre Dame's 28 shots have been on goal. Lacey McDermott.
Hopkins plays more people than Notre Dame. We'll see if that becomes a factor late. Hopkins has been winning face-off. Has it correlated into more possessions? No, it didn't in the first half, but it could later in this game.
Here comes Collison.
This is a little shaky territory for Notre Dame. You're only leading by 2 in a game you feel like you've controlled.
Collison's got a short stick matchup. Collison gets the left hand free, and that lead shrinks to 1. It's the 25th goal of the season by Matt Collison, the only freshman midfielders in the storied history of Blue Jay lacrosse that have scored more in a season. Joel Tinney and Del Dressel.
6'4", 225 from Ontario. Calm demeanor. Casual at times, but man, he's mature. He asserts himself at the right time. Keeps it simple. Beats his man topside. He's been a dominant body dodger as a freshman, the big lefty.
Were you surprised the help didn't come?
As he's pushing to his strong hand, his preferred left hand, and has topside leverage, you've got to make him a passer. You've got to go and double team him.
Face-off violation against Hopkins.
Now the thing about the motion offense is sometimes off ball, that's a little gray. There's a confusion there. If guys are moving, I may be in the backup position, the support position 1 second, and then when Collison goes, my guy moves, what do I do? Do I stay or do I go? The new wave song, right? Should I stay or should I go now?
It's no longer new though. Jake Taylor, catch, shot, score. The ball stays in his cross for maybe 20 seconds all game, and he can have 4 goals.
And this is the weakness of this defensive formation that I mentioned earlier. Because Hopkins' splits are so condensed, they're willing to give this shot up. Notre Dame finds the answer, the crisp ball movement, and the feet set from mid-range. Melendez and Collison answered by Notre Dame. It makes sense. I mean, Pat Kavanaugh has 49 assists for this team. It's
50 now with 1 today.
That's more than 40% of the team's overall assists. So if we can take that away,
Jack Hawley has been the utility man for Hopkins this year. So good off the face-off wings.
The Notre Dame team averaging 16 goals per game. Not on pace for that today.
That's 3rd in Division I.
Great poke. Great poke. Is that Chris Fake, 7 and white?
Chris Fake
As the player was going to make that transition pass, he just poked the lower glove, and the ball sailed into the mezzanine level.
Fake this season when he is the primary defender, has only given up 4 goals all season. Simmons has a couple today. Three and white, transferred from Virginia. You can see his old team for a 3rd time if the Irish win. Missed the cage. Pat Cavanaugh wins the race.
This is where you see them zoning it up in front of the goal.
Now chaos at X. Cavanaugh gives it up to Tevlin.
And now they're back in the man.
Now Chris Cavanaugh. Marked by Zulik. Picked by Seymour. Chris to his brother Pat. A 2-man game with Simmons. He's got the short stick, Jaronski. Now they get the switch. Simmons turns the corner, nobody picked him up, and he scores. They were so worried about Pat Cavanaugh getting the ball against the short stick, they forgot about Simmons.
Why are you stacking and whacking with the fucking people? Stacking and whacking. A communication breakdown. Simmons has played well, hasn't he? Grad student out of Virginia. Lefty from the McDonough School, known for his wheels. He's got 2 rings, right? He was a member of the Virginia teams in 19 and 21.
2 rings, a chance to get a 3rd. He's got 3 goals today.
Much more impactful in this game than I've seen all season long.
Came into the game with 10 on the season. Will Lynch accelerates up ahead. Over to Chris Cavanaugh. Face dodge. Spun around. Here comes Ramsey. Wanted McCann on the crease feed. Instead, it results in a turnover.
That's the right play. Notre Dame's been pretty good in transition, especially the last 5 games. Bergmaster, Tevlin, Ramsey. It's a wrinkle I think they'll need to rely on if they do play in championship weekend.
If they get to championship weekend, they'll face a Virginia team that has beaten Notre Dame twice. In fact, those are Notre Dame's only 2 losses of the season. The 11 Notre Dame wins have been by an average of 8.5 plus goals. Outside of a triple overtime win against Maryland, every other win by 5 or more goals. Hopkins this season, something to keep in mind. If they can keep this close, they've been a 4th quarter team all year. Looking for Degnan, comes to Angeles. Fake has held him in check. Angeles against the bagpiper Bergmaster. Back to X, this is Grimes. They'll morph between midfield and attack. Melendez now, looking for the hat trick. Melendez trying to split the D. It's knocked loose, scooped up off the ground, Bergmaster.
Nothing's come easy for Notre Dame today offensively. I give them a lot of credit. They haven't kind of lost their poise. They've been really sticking to the task. It hasn't been easy. Hopkins is throwing a lot of complexity, a lot of different schemes at him. But I feel a focus, I feel a determination.
The toughness, the hustle that has been a staple of Hopkins all season. It showed up today. Chris Cavanaugh's shot ricochets off maybe a helmet. Now the question, Quint, defensively for Hopkins, will they have enough gas left in the tank in the 4th quarter? They have been on defense for the vast majority of this game. Gray against Ince. Now it's Pat Cavanaugh using the pick from Gray. He gets the switch. Hopkins will have to slide here. Kavanaugh against Ince. Zula comes to help. Chris Kavanaugh shot saved by Marcille. And they'll say it stays with Notre Dame, to the chagrin of a mostly pro-Johns Hopkins crowd here in Annapolis. It's closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds. I thought on first glance it was Hopkins' ball. Official there had the better view. New 60 as well.
That's big.
Tevlin looking to shake Ince. Now Chris Kavanaugh from the wing. Feeds the middle, too easy for Taylor. A hat trick for Taylor, his 8th goal in this NCAA tournament. And Notre Dame with its largest lead of the game.
How important are those runouts? Those change of possessions or no change in possessions? You can read it on Coach Milliman's face. This is a logistical symphony. Pass up, the pick is set, defense rotates, Taylor's left open inside. Look at this little play here. There's the pick. The defense has to go, leaving Taylor. They don't get the second slide from the weak side. When Notre Dame is playing lacrosse in the half-field set like that, with that passing, man, that gold trophy is within range.
Lynch able to win the faceoff. 4-goal lead for the Irish, 2.5 to go, third quarter. Three goals and an assist for Jack Simmons, 3 in white. Pat Kavanaugh now on the high wing. Chris Kavanaugh goes behind the cage. Tevlin picks for Kavanaugh. Now they get the switch. Pat Kavanaugh against Martin. They've been doing more of that in this third quarter. Kavanaugh draws the slide, gives it up to Westland. Behind the cage, Chris Kavanaugh. Feeding to the middle, Westland's bouncer blocked. And it's picked up by Zulik. When Pat Kavanaugh's got it, he's got a matchup. You can feel the tension on the Hopkins side. Head on a swivel. Martin the other way. And it's going to be Notre Dame ball.
Official Matt Palin right on the goal line extended. He had the view. He's in a perfect spot. And he makes that call.
That's a backbreaker. We've had some long possessions. Looks like maybe unsettled. An opportunity for the offense. You give it up. Now they ride it back. Angeles leading the charge. Melendez. Angeles has been the head of the snake all season long. When he goes and he plays well, the Blue Jays have won. Collison against the short stick Parlett. Off the stick of McDermott. 45 seconds and ticking in this third quarter. English the wing dodge. Angeles feed, shot. Melendez the backup. 33 seconds left in the third. No flag. Melendez got top side. Over to Degnan. Intiman with a big save. Cannot ask for a better look if you're Hopkins. Final 15 seconds of quarter number 3.
Intiman's pretty chill.
Here comes Gray. 5 seconds. Gray swims past Raposo. Looking for Taylor. And time runs out. Notre Dame has heard the refrain all of last year. What could have been had they only had the chance. They've had the chance this year. They've made the most of it. The Irish 15 minutes from championship weekend. Unless the Blue Jays can stir up one of their patented fourth quarters. Anish Roth, Quint Kesnick from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in beautiful Annapolis, the Maryland state capital. We go to the fourth quarter, one spot left in championship weekend, and it's Notre Dame with a 4-goal lead on Johns Hopkins. Winner will face Virginia in the second game next Saturday. Duke and Penn State will play at noon on ESPN2 next Saturday in Philadelphia. Kevin Corrigan, 35 seasons at the helm at Notre Dame. Hasn't been to championship weekend since 2015. Hopkins, last time they were there was 2015. Blue Jays lost by a goal to Maryland. Notre Dame lost that year in the semifinals to eventual champion Denver. Opening face-off of the fourth quarter. You can feel the intensity, and the Irish have it.
Irish are dominating time of possession in that third quarter because of their face-off success. Slow start, done much better in the second half. Credit Will Lynch, the sophomore from Chaminade. Done better in the second half of the season, hasn't he, statistically?
It was the case last year as well, and you saw the numbers. 5 out of 6 for Notre Dame in the second half. Lynch today 7 of 15 overall. Hagstrom was 0 for 4. Aruski's taken all but 1 for Johns Hopkins. McCann takes Martin behind the crease. Now Chris Kavanaugh. McCann draws the slide, comes to Dobson. Flag down, Dobson with a lefty shot. And Notre Dame will have the extra man. If you're trying to come back near Johns Hopkins.
Not the group you want to foul, right?
No.
That was effective half-court offense. Double team drawn, ball rotation. Dobson then able to dodge to his left off a moving defense. I like it. That's late. That's late. This unit has been lethal this season.
63% entering the weekend. Second only to Georgetown nationally.
Chris Wojcik, their offensive coordinator, Ryder Garnsey, their volunteer assistant, have done real nice work. They keep it simple. It's really the same formation every week. Richard Deli on the inside, 0. He can do a lot of things. He can finish or he can kick it out.
Westland. Now Kavanaugh probes. Over to Chris Kavanaugh, back to Pat. Pat to Chris, shot, skips wide. Westland has the backup.
Game's pretty physical. Refs letting him play there. Hopkins got away with maybe a late hit. Irish fans wanted the call. Baiting the outside shot, Anish.
Chris Kavanaugh gets it, fires.
And they are packing it in big time as the Hopkins, 5 men on a die. It's a box and 1.
You got Chris Kavanaugh, who's got 7 man-up goals this year. Dobson, for his career, has been a big man-up weapon. Notre Dame tried to get inside. That's what Hopkins wanted. They come away with it. Marseille springing out of the cage.
Terrific defense. Because that unit, as good as it gets in the country.
That's going to be a loose ball push on Smith.
You can't win big games if you're turning the ball over like that.
That could have been a line ball turnover. Gives Hopkins a chance to get set on defense. Notre Dame taking its time. Tevlin versus Nick Kaufman. Simmons now against Mark. Simmons has been dangerous on the invert. Gets a step, crease feed to Pat Cavanaugh, couldn't get it out of the stick. The zone right there with him. Still 20 to shoot. There's Seymour. Fires with the left hand and scores. 2 goals today by Jalen Seymour, who had 3 all season entering play. 6'4" sophomore from Long Island. He's got the chance to be a pretty good player for the Irish down the road.
Down the road in Philly. Actually, that's up the road. Turnover by Hopkins on the clear proves to be costly. Seymour's a nice-looking athlete, man. Championship teams always have, and Carp referenced it yesterday with Nick Liccamelli. I remember covering those games. I'm like, Nick Licca who? A senior who got hot in May. Well, when I look at Seymour, he's a sophomore. Like, he's starting to put it together. You get these extra practices for playoff teams in May. And you never know who's got more to give this year. He looks like the guy getting hot at the right time.
Late in the season, Notre Dame had a bye week, and Kevin Corrigan treated it almost like a football coach would treat spring practice. Not all of it was geared toward game planning. They spent a lot of time on developing the younger guys for moments like this.
When we talked to Eric Dobson, he mentioned those. They do that every Monday. They call it scrub ball, the scrimmages. But he said the intensity, the compete level in those Monday scrimmages when the third stringers and fourth stringers get the majority of the reps, he says it's been noticeably different this year.
Grimes clanks it off the pipe.
I know you like that name, scrub ball.
I think you like it more than I do. Here comes Fake.
Now Notre Dame up 5. They're going to continue to play their offense. Again, you have to in the shot clock era. But they're in no rush. They'll take their time with their subs. It's hot down there.
And this Blue Jay team has played a lot of defense. Brendan Grimes is trapped on defense, 9 in blue for Johns Hopkins. Now he'll run off with McKay. Tevlin coming in. Notre Dame using the sub game. Tevlin had a great look. Tevlin beat his man coming down in with the sub game. And Notre Dame found it. Fulton Bayman, 2 in white. Young man who's been through 3 torn ACLs between his junior year of high school and his first semester at Notre Dame. Chris Cavanaugh. He was picked up by Smith. I don't see Pat Cavanaugh out there. Tevlin to the doorstep and Taylor. Gray with the backup. So a breather here for Pat Cavanaugh. And with the shot clock winding down, Gray dumps it back. The Blue Jays do not have a shot in this fourth quarter. Earlier in the game, they went 10.5 minutes without a shot. And the scoreless drought for Johns Hopkins now 14 minutes.
Fake. Chris Fake, 7 in white's an amazing.
And we're told the Notre Dame trainer is looking at Pat Cavanaugh's right leg. Casey McDermott working on Nick Harris. Now Brooks English. Bounce shot and a score. Collison with his second of the game. It's 11-7, still plenty of time left. Pat Cavanaugh on the sideline. Something to keep our eyes on.
Collison's aggressive. He's got the body. The body dodger asserts himself to win the space game by driving top side. Number 27 recruit, according to Inside Lacrosse. Lefty with a bright future. High school teammates with Finn Thompson of Syracuse.
Big face-off win for Tyler Dunn and Hopkins.
Yeah, essential face-off win.
Notre Dame today has outshot Johns Hopkins 41-24, but the Irish have only put 16 of those shots on goal. Hopkins has put 13 of their 24 on goal. Angeles with the short stick matchup. Finds Degnan. And just like that, the Blue Jays cut the Irish lead to 3.
That's what you get when you win faceoffs. This shot is super snappy by Degnan. Watch the lefty plant his feet and just snap this with his wrists. Boom.
This was Pat Cavanaugh moments ago. They were checking out, it looked like his right calf. But he made his way onto the field. Notre Dame's lead is 11-8 after 2 straight goals by Hopkins. Pat Cavanaugh just 1 point today, 1 assist. He's had at least 3 points in every game this season. 7 points in round 1, which tied an NCAA tournament Notre Dame single game record.
And he said, I think if you're Hopkins, you've hung around here. You've extended this game midway through the 4th quarter within range and at least put some pressure on Notre Dame now to finish this thing off. So many times this year they've had walk-away wins, blowout wins, but they haven't had to play the full 60.
Notre Dame has not had many close games this year. In fact, their 2 losses to Virginia, they weren't particularly close. Outside of that triple overtime win against Maryland, you're right, Notre Dame has not had to play a 60-minute game. Most of the games have been decided or close to decided by this point. Chris Cavanaugh now has his man hung up. Marcille dances out of the cage. Cat and mouse. Cavanaugh for Simmons. Near turnover. Irish still have time to shoot. Simmons up top to Tevlin.
Nice recovery by the Hopkins defense on that skip pass through Tevlin.
They continue to make Notre Dame work deep into the shot clock. Simmons against the senior captain Zulik. Westland now. Looking for the crease feed. Marcille gobbles it up. All of a sudden, if Hopkins can get a goal here, it's 11-9. Notre Dame's the heavy favorite. They start feeling the pressure. Mazzone, Melendez, one more, doorstep, oh, and hit the post. Angeles with a great look. Collison's got 2 goals, the freshman. Grimes, 6'4", shot, save Entenmann.
Nice one, the way he moved his feet. His stick wasn't on in Anish, but he got some good step into his left and took that one off his body.
Liam Entenmann, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Carter Parlett holds up.
Gotta tell you, I did not love the defense by Notre Dame. Okay, late in the game, two things. You got to talk more when you're tired. And then the second being, your defensive midfielders aren't going to have the same burst, the same acceleration. Expect them to get run by a little more later in the game. So have a help mentality. That was too easy for Hopkins.
McCann picked up by Raposo. Dobson from Chris Kavanaugh. Marseille there for the denial.
You could see that one coming a mile away. It was nice circular passing off the double team from Notre Dame. Dobson is a natural lefty. That was in his wheelhouse, and Marseille read it.
Hopkins now. Angelis. It's a deep midfield for Hopkins, which helps in the fourth quarter. Depth is a strength. Collison, left hand free, save Entenmann, rebound loose, English, missed the cage, but Entenmann got a piece. And Donovan had the backup for Notre Dame, so the Irish with the ball. 4:04 to go, Notre Dame with a 3-goal lead.
Hopkins gonna roll up the field now in a 10-man.
Dobson looking for help. He's got to play it back to Entenmann.
Empty net.
Entenmann's thinking about it. He scored. We've seen him do it before.
Great job by Notre Dame clearing against a 10-man. That's standard operating procedure in the ACC. Where
right.
Virginia 10-mans, North Carolina 10-mans.
Peter Milliman was saying in the Big Ten, you don't see rides as much. Notre Dame doesn't do a 10-man ride, but it feels like it because of the two Kavanaughs. Peter Milliman said in the Big Ten, normally when you see a ride, it's when teams are down. It's this kind of situation, but not as a regular part of their defense. Notre Dame sees that all the time in the ACC. Gray trying to spin away from Deans. Now Dobson. Chris Kavanaugh in the restraining area. 3 minutes to go in regulation, 15 on the shot clock.
Field balance critical now for Notre Dame. Looks like they're just going to rag the clock and roll this one.
Kavanaugh to Dobson.
That's not what you want in
He
terms
dumps
of
it
turnovers.
back. Degnon's got it.
Trailer.
Mazzone for Melendez. Conlon picks it up off the ground. He led the nation in caused turnovers in 2020 and 21 when he was at Holy Cross. That was a careless pass, a rare mistake by Mazzone.
Yeah, and that sent some Hopkins fans to the parking lot.
Timeout was called by Kevin Corrigan. 2:21 to go, fourth quarter. Next weekend, Saturday noon and 2:30, ESPN2. For more information, log on to NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA lacrosse championships. Before I can finish the promo read, Chris Kavanaugh makes it a 4-goal lead for the Irish, and that is a hat trick for the youngest of the 6 Kavanaugh siblings.
Wow. Watch the way, Anish, that he handles this double team. This is really, really good. A sophomore. Watch this. He's double teamed, squirts through it, capitalizes on the different angles the defender's coming at him. Whoop. Chris Kavanaugh talked about it in the open. His brother Kevin, brother Matt, who played for Notre Dame on those great teams in 14 and 15. Brendan, Pat, and sister Colleen.
Johns Hopkins ball. They need 4 goals in 2 minutes. Peshko, there's one.
3 goals in 2 minutes.
It's 12-9. Second goal of the game for Jonathan Peshko.
Strike before the defense can get set up from range. You see Edelman's on it. He's all over that too. So the impact of face-offs. Here we go. You open the door if you're Hopkins.
He's good. Naruski wins it to himself. A chance for the Blue Jays. Over the wing. Melendez. Save, Entenmann. A Manganell up ahead for Devlin. He lost it. Big ground ball knocked out of bounds by Notre Dame. It goes back to Hopkins. 1:46 to go. The last hurrah for Johns Hopkins. And a flag down. Chris Kavanaugh slow to get up.
Wow, did Zulik hit him after he made that crossfield pass? There's a lot of stuff that goes on between the Kavanaughs and defenders all game. The Kavanaughs are whacking at him. Zulik doesn't like it and returns the favor.
And Zulik was the one who got caught. And now you give Notre Dame a man up. 1:37 to go. It's a 1-minute man up. It's essentially a death sentence for your season.
It's a different type of game when you're a defender and you don't wear much arm padding, and you know the Kavanaughs are coming after you when you're clearing it, and you're going to leave with bruised forearms, elbows, and shoulders. Those are two riders. They have checks. They're very orchestrating the way they're trying to create turnovers.
How many times have coaches told us one of the things they will intentionally try to do is get under your skin?
And they often do, because big bully defenders don't like taking it. They can only give it.
McCann straddling the sideline. Notre Dame will kill as much clock as they can. Still another 20 seconds to go with the extra man. Oh, now Marseille will press out, but it's still 6-on-6. Well-timed pass, Devlin. Final 10 seconds of the man up. 40 seconds to go in regulation. Six on 6. Marseille stays in the cage. The white flag is up for Hopkins. Kavanaugh with the shot clock at 2, throws it away. Marseille's got to chuck it downfield. Knocked down by McCann. Sound the bagpipes. How fitting. Notre Dame going to championship weekend in the city of brotherly love. 2 Kavanaughs leading the Irish to the national semifinals, where they'll take on Virginia next week. Quint, I think when you walk away from this quarterfinal weekend, the expectation was for Duke and Virginia and Notre Dame to advance. They have. Penn State knocked off Army in the one game that was seen as a toss-up. The Nittany Lions, they'll be a big underdog in Philadelphia. But these big three, it's been circular motion all season. Notre Dame had Duke's number. Duke had Virginia's number. Virginia had Notre Dame's number. And for an Irish team seeking that elusive championship, Pat and Chris Kavanaugh have publicly talked about it. They'll have to go through in the semis. The team that's beaten them twice this year and the only team to have beaten them this year.
Impressed with Notre Dame today because I thought Hopkins mucked this game up strategically. They took Pat Cavanaugh kind of out of the mix, and you know what? Notre Dame said, yeah, we'll play slow. We'll figure this out. We're not going to panic. We may lose some face-offs along the way as well, and I like the maturity. I like the grit. I like the willingness to play hard for 60 minutes because at times this year it's come really easy for them. This just felt different, and I think there's virtue in that.
Johns Hopkins gave Notre Dame all they had, and they hung around until the final minutes. Simmons had 3 goals. You talk about unsung heroes in May. Jack Simmons came into this game with 10 goals all season. He's the Capital One player of the game, and now he'll face his old team, Virginia, for a 3rd time this season in the national semis.
If you're Hopkins, you took a shot. You said, you know what, we're going to take Pat Cavanaugh out of it. They didn't factor in what Jack Simmons would do. I thought Jalen Seymour is a bright spot for Notre Dame, and at the end of the day, Chris Fake clearly won his matchup defensively. He was super strong.